It is so good to
Hey,
see
Carol.
everybody. Hello, hello. Oh, we want to say thanks to our YouTube audience for joining us in the sacred energy of circle this morning. And today you're going to be able to watch our evidential mediums. Today we have Effie, Tammy, and myself as we connect with people who have crossed over to the other side and deliver messages from them. And our hope is that by watching our mediums at work, you'll come to understand that the loved ones that you may have lost are still with you. So please join us as we open with a prayer. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Please help us to open all of our senses, physical and spiritual, so that we can receive your messages without interference from our own minds. We humbly ask that you make this circle an uplifting and joyous experience for everyone in attendance. Please ask the spirits who recognize the voices in this room to join us this morning so that we will know that they watch over us, love us, and protect us still. And please allow us to deliver the information presented by Spirit with grace and compassion, in complete trust and respect of your infinite wisdom. Amen. Okay. We have a smaller group today. What do you ladies think about 15 minutes? Does that work for you? I can't hear you, both muted. It's good. Good. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer up for 15 minutes. And whenever, um, whenever you get a link, go ahead and hop in. So let's see. Here. Okay. Perfect. I'll tell you what, I'm going to start us off. I don't really have anything significant here, but I'm going to jump in and see if I can get us going. All right. So as I turn my awareness to the spirit world, I'm um, actually seeing the mouth of a cave, Cave. Okay, which is kind of weird. So let me see where this goes. And this cave is associated with a male who would have been inside this cave as like a tourist. Okay. It's let's see. It's a cave that what's the word that I want? It's a cave that is shall we say it's redone, refinished in order like it's not a an open hole that somebody could crawl in and get killed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay. It's one that has the uh concrete floors that they've laid in it and this kind of stuff so people can walk in it and look inside the cave. Okay. And so tourists can go in. So does anybody know a guy who visited a cave? That ring a bell? Tammy.
Well, I've visited some caves in Cappadocia.
Okay.
And,
Were you with a
and
male?
Carol,
I was with a male.
You were with a male? Okay. All right. So,
Effie was saying something too.
oh, sorry. Effie, go ahead.
I visited caves with tour guides,
I'm sorry. I,
tourists.
I can't hear you.
I visited caves with tourists.
Oh,
Like as a
okay.
tourist, yeah.
Okay. Were you with a male?
Then yes, at that time.
Okay, all right. And I should ask a question, are either of your males in spirit?
Yes. Yep.
Both of them
Yes.
are. Okay, all
Yes.
right. Okay. This is interesting. Okay, so this is a memory about a cave trip. Let me lean more into this. Um, this male this male has a camera, the old style that hung on the strap around your neck for which you needed film, not the phone camera. Okay, it's an old style camera. Would either of you understand this old camera?
He had a Polaroid that he used a lot.
Polaroid? Okay, what about you,
Yeah.
Tammy?
No, that doesn't resonate.
Okay, all right. Stay with me, Tammy, but
Okay.
okay, I'm gonna see if I can get one more piece of evidence and make this split definitive. Okay, would either of your males have been wearing shorts during this trip versus pants?
Yeah, it was hot country.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay. So, all right, but Tammy, the same for you. All right,
Yeah, would have, yeah, shorts, I could see
still
that.
want to get one other separator. Okay. I feel like this guy um, was an intelligent guy who had arcane interests and um, appreciated uh, obscure facts about the cave, like the formations and things like this. But he looked at it more from an archaeologist perception than, shall we say, an artist perception or a tourist perception, like, oh, this is nice, let's go get hot dogs. Okay. He liked the archaeology of it. Okay. Would either of you understand that about the male?
He was definitely not an artist, but he knew a
Yeah.
lot about history.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Tammy, what
Yeah,
about you?
I would say I don't, I mean, he was very artistic and very knowledgeable about history, but specifically about the cave and all of that, I don't think that would have been like an intense interest, if that's what you
Okay.
mean.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tammy, then. Thanks for listening. Okay. Effie, may I work with you?
Sure, yes.
Okay. All right. Let me lean into this guy a little bit more. Okay. So what I see outside the cave is it's a big parking lot. Okay, and it's paved parking lot. So this is more of a um, like this was not some place you had to hike into to go see the cave. You could pull your car up and um, you know, get to the cave in a reasonably safe walk. Would that make sense?
It was a tourist attraction, so I don't remember the parking lot, but we had to
Okay.
drive there. We didn't have
Okay.
to hike, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see what this guy wants to say. I get the feeling that you did not appreciate this quite as much as he did. Would that be true?
I'd say yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Hmm.
and there's something about insects here too.
Oh, I understand that. Oh,
Okay, a
yes.
lot of insects. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. And he's kind of laughing about this, and he's saying that he's calling you spunky.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. For making the trip. All right. So he has this admiration for you that is kind of, yeah, he's actually saying that he doesn't know another woman who would have made the trip. So, he's holding you in a higher esteem for going. All right. I asked him what else is going on, like what happened in your relationship between other than the cave. Okay. All right. And so what this guy's telling me is that there he he's telling me that he tried to push you into outdoor adventures more than you wanted to go. Would that make sense?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Okay, let me lean into this a bit. Okay, so he's talking about like going to places like you know, Zanzibar. Okay. And really difficult travel areas. Would that make sense to you?
Yes.
Difficult
Yes.
travel areas. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. And he really enjoyed all of this. Like it even though like I can hear that there are people talking a language that I don't know, okay? And I don't think that he knew some of these languages where he was dropped either, okay? But he embraced the culture, the cultural differences, okay?
Yes.
And all of the adventures. Did he go to Egypt that you know of?
No.
No? Do you want to go to Egypt?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So he's talking about Egypt here. Let's see. So he's encouraging you to take the trip to Egypt. Okay, let me see why. And he's speaking like the archaeologist right now. Okay, and he's telling me that they've uncovered new things there that have he's saying they've just come to light, even though that place is, 3,000 years old. He says they're still discovering new things. Okay. And he says new things have come to light and you must go see them. Okay.
Hmm.
Let's see. What about Rome? Uh,
Absolutely.
okay. Okay. So he's talking about the Coliseum in Rome.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. That is a nugget.
Okay. All right, let me see if I can see
Wow.
what is it what this is with the Colosseum.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Uh, did he actually I don't even know if this is possible, okay, but he's showing me himself seated inside the Colosseum. Do they let you do that?
No, I don't want to lead you, Kara.
Okay. All
Carrie.
right. Okay. Well,
Um,
I'm just going to tell you what
Coliseum
he's
in Rome is huge with me right now.
okay. All right. So what he's showing me is himself sitting inside the Coliseum. And of course, it's like empty right now. Okay. But or it's in ruins, I guess is what I want to say. But, um, but he's showing me, and this is kind of interesting. Okay. Cause he's showing me like this, if you want to call it like a ghost scene.
It's
Okay.
exactly what it
Uh,
is when I see it.
really? Like gladiator battles and things like this?
Yes,
And he's
yes,
showing me this as a
yes.
ghost scene.
I'm
Okay.
right there standing watching it.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I wanna hear the feedback on this. This is interesting. Okay. Let me see what else he wants to say here. He's kind of pulling back. So, um, but he's emphasizing, okay, if he's back to Egypt, okay, and he's really pushing you toward Egypt, okay. Say make that trip. Uh, He's saying there that there's people who are going to try to discourage you from going. Just ignore
Yes.
them and
Yeah.
go. Okay. Just ignore them and go. And he's saying that he'll be there with you when you make the
Oh, yeah.
trip. Okay. All right. And I'm going to leave it there and say thank you for letting me serve spirit. So, all right. So, Effie.
Now it almost made me teary. Just gonna grab a pen because I've, you have all your everything ready, and then all of a sudden, Carol, you have no pen.
Okay,
I'm so
I'm dying
sorry.
to hear what that Coliseum scene is about.
Oh my God, this is huge right now. Oh my God. So it was in London.
Yeah, I
It
knew
was a
you were in
beautiful city.
London.
Oh
Yeah.
my, great city. So it's same situation. Right before I was gonna go to London, don't go. Women don't go on the screw. I'm going. I'm working there. I'm also going to have a good time. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so this was, I believe, my grandfather. One of my first trips to Greece. When I was a little girl, he always had a Polaroid camera.
Okay.
So a Polaroid camera, he'd always like those old-fashioned ones. So today I don't have a lot of pictures except for the Polaroid pics I have from him that he took. So I treasure those. We took a trip to go see the stalagmites in a cave. And it was like a small canoe that they took us in, and I didn't know how to swim. And there was no life jackets back then. So I was
Ooh,
terrified. The safety today, and when I think about it, and he was beside me and he had his camera and he was taking pictures because he had that flash that he could take the icicles. He could see them coming down. And I didn't care for the trip. I was just more scared of falling. And also, not who cares about the history? Who cares about he did because he's a
yeah.
historian, Greece,
Yeah.
very proud of his culture, which you definitely talked about, different language. One of his granddaughters visited Africa and went to a very, very remote area in one of the war zones as a
Oh,
journalist.
oh
So
my.
he's very proud of her and did a documentary um,
Wow. Wow.
of
Wow.
that. This is one of his yeah. So he's talking about her too. Um,
Wow.
and so very much strongly in my meditations, very, very much first I see Greece and then I'm in the Coliseum. And I start to say, I'm in the Coliseum. I start saying Coliseum, Coliseum. I'm in the Coliseum. At first, I thought it was Athens, Acropolis, but then it leads me to, I'm in the middle of the Coliseum and I'm watching a fight of the gladiators with the animals and what's happening. And then I'm in the background as an observer watching it, watching this scene unfold of what's happening and watching
The
the
ghost scene.
people. That's the ghost scene. And that keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. And then the trip to go to Italy is a very big thing in Egypt. So it goes also to Egypt. There's two areas in the meditations. It takes me to Egypt and then it takes me to the Colosseum. And then he's pulling me that you need to go here. You need to go here. So it's very, very strong. And that's majority of my meditations have been going into those two significant places. In Colosseum, I know he's going to be there in Rome and also in Egypt. There's a reason why I need to go there. And then it takes me to monasteries where the nuns are.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
Tammy.
Tammy.
So that is so fascinating.
Weigh
And
in.
wow. And my question to you, Effie, is when you are doing your meditation, are you setting an intention to go to these places, or when you're meditating, you're
Just go.
being kind of brought to those places, being brought there? Okay. Yeah, that's really fascinating. Yeah. It was so
Okay.
clear for you, Carol. My gosh. The
uh,
information you brought through was so clear.
and it didn't make like any sense at all. It was so like it seemed fantastical.
And
You
the
know,
thing is the voices, the sounds in the Colosseum, hearing the screams, seeing the
yeah.
action, seeing the people, the hierarchy and the council that is there at the time of Caesar's evolution. So it's quite it's so real to me, but it's a ghost scene where it takes and leads me so deep into it and it comes so much into the meditations. And then and I say out loud, Coliseum. I'm at the Coliseum again. I'm at the Coliseum. And then it takes me out into the villages where I'm being led to monasteries. And then I'm looking at nuns watching. So that's where it ends. And then I need to, that's very significant, Carol.
Oh, this is a first. This is a first on this channel. This is really interesting. Well, let's take a sidebar and talk about meditation for a bit. Though, Effie, how often do you meditate?
So when COVID, when the world shut down every single day,
Okay, all right. And what are you doing now?
as I try to balance it out as much as possible in between 3 to 4 times a week. I try to do up to an hour, but I give myself grace today. So if it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever time I can have, it is what it is today.
Okay. And so this, thing that you're talking about with the travel, okay, and going to Egypt and going to the Coliseum sounds like something that you would only see if you went into deep meditation. Would
Yes,
that be
yeah.
correct after you've
It's the
meditated?
consistency of sitting for long periods of time. And
Okay.
then so as mediums, as one of the essential fundamentals I recommend is when you're starting your journey is to sit as much as possible by yourself and sit, and whatever happens is what happens. Forgive yourself if don't ask, did I shut the door? Did I feed the cat? That will happen.
Yeah.
Uh, just sit, and you'll find that it's going to be extended into longer periods of time gracefully as it begins to extend to longer and longer. Whatever happens within the meditation is what happens within the meditation. Do not have an intention.
Right, right. Okay. Well, Tammy, I'm going to ask you about your meditation shortly, but I'll tell you what's been happening to me recently in meditation, and I'm kind of curious to see if you guys have any insight on this. So I have been, I meditate and I close my eyes, and I do meditate every day for a half hour. Okay, that's 8:30 to 9 in the morning. But when I close my eyes, okay, I find that when I close my eyes and I pass my hand in front of my eyes like this, I see this white blob moving. I actually see the light, although my eyes are closed. And this is something that's started recently for me, and I don't know what it means. I'm curious to see if you guys have any insight on it. Because I
Mm.
mean, close your eyes, okay, and move your hand in front of your face. You don't see anything. But then during meditation, I can actually see white moving across.
like the light.
Are you intentionally putting your hand across your face, Carol, or just it happens? You just see the light go across.
I can say it is tied to my hand.
But
Okay.
is your hand up doing it, or is it
Yeah, across my
so it's
eyes.
your energy fields. We're working now with your energy fields, feeling your etheric energy with your hand moving across.
And seeing it. Okay. And
Hmm.
see that's interesting because the light also gets more intense the deeper I get into meditation.
Hmm.
And
And that can
I
lead you
can
also into colors. So to start working with colors, an
well see
extra,
I started with colors and now I'm going the other way.
that's
So
okay.
I do see colors and now I'm seeing this white, with my hand, which I think is fascinating. But what about you, Tammy? What do you experience during meditation?
Well, it's interesting. Just in answering to what you were just talking about, I've seen, because I haven't intentionally moved my hand there, um, but when I've been meditating, I've seen actually figure shadows kind of moving. So like I'll see changes because it's like something's there, but like moving around. So I have seen that.
Like
Um,
spirit, do you think?
I
Or
guess so. I'm not sure what it is because
Is it like
there's
little,
there's
like
nothing there.
scrolls? Is it shapes? Or it's just,
No, it's
it,
just like if you were in a dark room, but the shadows are a little bit darker, so and it doesn't happen all the time. but then I can, and it's like, and I could feel somebody's there. So
Mhm.
I know somebody's there because, and I see movement. So I know somebody's there, but then I try to say, acknowledge it and then forget about it and go deeper. So it's like, glad you're here. Thanks for coming. Now help me go deeper. And
Mhm.
so, and I used to be just, religious about my meditation practice for 5.5 years, every single day, no matter what. I would set the alarm at 5 if to get up early. And it's only been recently that I've been less kind of dogmatic about it and given myself a little grace to just realize that sometimes sleep is more important, than doing
I
that.
get it. I'm with
Yeah.
you, Tammy.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
have to sleep because that's more important right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I also have like several different types of meditation I do. So I'm sometimes focusing on one several times a week and then combining one with another, trying to add that one on to. So it's ever evolving, I would say.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you all do sitting in the power meditations?
Mm,
Mine has been
really.
consistently, it's just meditating quietly. And what I practice is also with meditating with a lot of noise, because when you're doing demonstrations, it's good to get used to having a lot of noise with babies screaming, dogs barking, people chatting,
Great
phones
advice.
going on. So it helped a lot with my demonstrations to tune out the noise and to work through that. And so I that's what I do with my meditations. I prefer to sit alone, but I also practice with noise.
Okay, that's great advice. Great
How
advice.
where do you find your noise? Do you like
The radio,
oh, that's a perfect
I
place.
ask Alexa to
That's a
make a lot of
perfect
noise, to make different types of
that's
noises, and
perfect.
she performs well.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Super.
excellent. Wow, that's fun.
All right. Are either of you feeling
Thank
the
you. That was great, Carol, by the way.
thank you, Effie. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Would either of you like to try?
I could jump. I mean, I don't feel totally connected to the spirit, but maybe if I
Spirit
start,
has your back. Go ahead.
if they, well, I wish they'd massage it a little. Um, well, I can go ahead and I'll go ahead and see if I can. It just doesn't. It's not super strong, but I also feel like this person was kind of there, and then I started wondering if I have the same person, because I do feel like it's a man. I do feel like he's here for Effie, but very different from what you were getting, and Carol, and this may not be, but I can say that I was being pulled to Effie, and that I have a man here who feels like he's on the paternal side, but he doesn't feel like a father, grandfather. He feels a little bit removed, almost like maybe an uncle. And he's showing me if this is the way they're going about it today, because they've done this a couple of times now, where they, instead of showing me themselves first and then starting to talk about themselves, they're showing me things about the person they're here for. And then I'm going kind of somewhat backwards from how I normally receive information. And so he started showing me, uh, well, he was like childhood memories. And so, Carol, listen, because I think it's for Effie, but I'm not totally sure. Like he was doing, the upside down eyes, and he was doing like a peekaboo, peekaboo. And so I understand that he would have known you from a very young age, because I do feel that it's you that he's playing these games with. And I also feel that I was also shown another image, and I'm hoping that it wasn't, another spirit coming in, because I was listening so intently that I was aware of the first one, and then suddenly this other information came in, and it's like, oh, I don't know whether that's another spirit or not, because of kind of taking my attention back and forth. And but I was also being shown like a swimming pool, and I feel like it's not a private pool. I do feel that it's a um, pool where other people that perhaps you wouldn't have known would be. And he seems a lot younger here. I feel that the recipient is much younger. And but what's interesting is I also see him like with a whistle, like he would almost be lifeguarding. Um, and I got two names kind of started coming in kind of a strange way. One had an OLF at the end, so like an off kind of name, I'm not saying it's Rudolph, but it was like an off, kind of sound to it. But before that, then I got and I feel like this is a person, Dolores Handy, and I feel like that's a person. So those are the names that started coming through. So with all of that information, I'll check with you first, Effie, if you understand. Do you have an uncle in spirit? Because I do feel that he's removed. He's not a direct
Yes,
family
I do.
member.
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
And would you have known him from or just a very young age?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Was he, I feel like you're on a witness stand here. Sorry about that. And would you understand? And would you also know that, remember that he would have been playful?
Yes, he
There's a
was.
playful side to him.
Yes, it
And
was.
and w- and 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 what about this scene at a pool? Would you have a memory of going swimming with him?
Yes.
Okay, and he's showing me like I'm even seeing him in his swimsuit. It's like one of those, it's not the kind that everybody wears today and they've worn for a number of years where men look like they're wearing shorts. It's that old-fashioned kind that's like the not spandex, but polyester and it's more fitted. It's like sh really short shorts, but
I
polyester
think it was
is
shorts. I don't remember. It was
okay.
very,
It's
yeah.
just so funny because I'm really being pulled to that, and I'm not normally pulled to like what they're wearing, but I'm really seeing that. And he feels quite young here and quite thin, actually. So let me just see where else he wants to go with this. Okay, so he's also showing me that at some point I feel like you're. Oh, and thank you for listening, Carol. I probably am with Effie, but um, I just want to go back first of all to those names, like the OLF sound. Does that resonate at all? Like this Ulf sound, Ulf,
No.
Ulf. Okay, and then what about like
Or
Dolores,
Dolores with him. Yeah.
Morris, and Handy,
Mhm.
Handy. Okay, okay. Um, yeah, they all were very kind of oddly coming in. So he's also wants to show me that I feel like he was around you too, like when you were, a little bit older school age. And would you have some memories that I feel like he's almost helping you with homework or something, because I'm seeing like a book and
That's
what
another
seems,
spirit.
oh, so there are two here.
Um,
There might be two
I
here then.
don't want to say yes or
Yeah,
no.
okay,
Keep
that's
going.
okay. Yeah, no, don't. But everything so far has related to the one person. Is that right?
So yeah, I can also make the other evidence fit to the same person that helped me
Okay.
with my homework.
Okay, and all of that evidence beforehand that I gave you would also
It's
fit
the
with that
one
person?
person, one
Okay,
person.
good. So
Yeah.
now they're probably trying to give me a separator here with what about that
It's
maybe it's
that
the
it's not
swimsuit. Maybe that's why
it's
he keeps showing me the swimsuit to be a separator.
uh no, it's the same person. It's not uncle. When you said
Okay.
homework, yeah, I went to someone else that fits the entire evidence.
Oh, okay. And the swimsuit with this new person? Does that
Yes.
It does. Okay, that's why he was really pulling me to the suit. So he was like, okay, that's why, because it's the one with the suit. Okay. Okay, great. So yeah, so he was showing me that he would have helped you then with homework. And oh, that's interesting. I'm trying to understand the relationship, but maybe that will come, or maybe he'll be able to tell me. So um, okay. He also shows me, oh, he might I'm beginning to think that he was a teacher because I feel like I feel like you're getting on a bus and he's like, it's almost like, I don't feel like he really did this necessarily, but that he's waving goodbye. So he's either showing me that he was at the school and you were leaving.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
correct.
So thank you. He's a good, thank you. Thanks. Um, oh, that's really interesting. He really is working with me a lot and showing me images rather than speaking just yet. And so these are things I'm not totally sure you would know about him, but he's giving me images of what his personality would be like. And so I do feel that he was kind of nerdy is the, even though he's like seemed fun before, there's a part of him that was very private. I want to call it very private.
I
And
I don't understand nerdy. I understand private.
you understand private. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the private. That's really what he's trying to show me. He was very private. And I can describe it to you, but I won't take the time to do it. But I am understanding that from him. He was very private. Um, I do feel that he was private for a reason. And I feel that there was something that he, um, there was something he was private about. And I'm not sure whether you know what it would have been, but just to speak to you, you're
Mhm.
having a lot of noise while you're doing a reading. I tell you what, there's so much noise out here. I'm thinking, oh, Effie would love this noise. Um, so yeah, he's very private about something, and it feels like I feel like he's hiding something, and that's what he's showing me, that he's hiding something. Um, And I would say that the other teachers, and these are things I just don't know if you would know this, but I feel like the other teachers are that are around him are kind of are there's a curiosity about him,
Yes.
and they're very curious, and it's like they want to know.
hmm
You know, I feel like they're a little nosy, actually, quite frankly. You know, the teachers, and
hmm
you know, are really wanting to know what's up with him. Okay, and I'm also understanding, it'd be nice, I hope he comes a little bit closer so that we can he can just speak to me um a little bit more clearly, but he's, you know, we're having a great time with the videos he's running through my mind. But when he goes home, um I'm not seeing anyone around him. So I don't feel I'm not seeing any family around him. Um
I can't take that.
You can't take that?
Right.
Okay, I'm not seeing any family around him right now. Let me just go a little bit further with that. I do see a dog, so I do feel that there's a dog there. Yeah, well, I don't understand that because when he takes me home, there's nobody there. So I have to stick with that and understanding why he's showing me that. So there must have been at some point in his life where he was alone because there's nobody there. There's nobody around him. But I'm feeling very much there's some kind of a um, black dog. There's some kind of a black dog. Do you know if he had a dog?
I think there was a dog when I would see pictures when they were growing up
Okay.
a long time ago, but we never had animals.
Okay. I do see a black dog around him. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Would you understand that? Would you know of a neighbor that lived, hold on, how many houses? I feel like there was a neighbor who lived two houses away who was the one who was alone, who had the dog? I'm trying to understand what he's showing me.
Yes, there was a
Two
neighbor.
houses away. Okay, two houses away.
Not
About
two,
two or three.
with,
At most three.
uh, no, it was about 9. Like it was right there. Like
Really?
we'd see him one, two, yeah,
Okay.
in between, like
Okay.
under 10. I remember I would see
Under
him with his
10.
dog.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, he was
interesting. The
close.
numbers. Okay. Oh, so that's the guy who's alone. And he was alone. There was nobody in that house with him. Or you
And
don't know.
it's a long story.
Okay, that's all right. You could tell me later. Let's see where else he wants to go. Okay, so right now he's taking you through incredibly clear water, and I feel like symbolically he's talking about the progress you're making and how it was murky. It was muddy, then murky, and now how clear it is, and how you're. And I do know, I do know a lot about what you're doing now, so that's not as evidential as I would, like it to be. But that that you're in a good place. Yeah, well, the water's very clear, and this is how he's showing it to me. Let me just see if I could pull him in a little bit closer so he could just talk. He's describing your existence as a magical existence. One where you don't need anyone because you're doing it all yourself.
It's true.
Where you light up the room when you walk in.
I don't know, but thank you.
People notice you. People notice you. They notice you because you're the bright light that everybody is looking for. To see her is to believe in what's possible. Oh, that was poetic. And I will always be here at your service when you need me. And I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you with that.
Wow. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that was the same person Carol had, my grandfather.
Was it? It's so funny because in the beginning I thought it was the same person, but he's in a weird place in my
It's my
mind map
childhood, yeah. Yeah.
because
So
he's not
part of my
showing me.
childhood,
Okay, because he's not on
definitely.
my direct family line place. He's in a different place. Did he feel removed somehow? No.
Very, very close, like my father.
Yeah.
hmm
It's funny where he was. I
Yeah,
don't
I
understand it.
understand swimming pool, taking us to recreational swimming pools when it was hot weather, like, it was 45 Celsius, which is, I think, 110 Fahrenheit in
Oh my
Toronto,
God.
which is very rare. It was a record. We never seen this in June. And so there were swimming pools, and then he would take us to recreational swimming pools, and we would always go to swimming pools to learn how to swim. That was the only thing that not a lot of people had swimming pools when we were younger. He took me to all of us to school. He'd walk us up and down every day through snow, slush, sheet, or rain. He was going to take us to school when we were younger. He helped me with my homework with his cultural language a lot, and he didn't have a playful side to him unless it came out. It would come out sometimes, though he was a private person because that's his character. And his personality was, it's none of your business.
Mhm.
Very direct. It's no one's business. What happens with me is nobody else needs to. So that was him always. So
Mhm.
um I remember saying, that's why does everybody need to know? So it was just, and people knew him, like he was a tough cookie. He was a tough
Well,
cookie,
yeah.
definitely. Uh, so one of the things about him is that people, my friends, and I see, I had a lot of friends, my grandparents, and they'd always come over. And when my grandfather would start to speak, he was extremely intelligent, with a grade 6 or grade 5 education, but he was very, very much into his Greek philosophy and overall philosophy in general. So he would start to talk about Socrates, and then he would go into Plato, then he'd go into Aristotle, then he'd go into Alexander the Great, and then Pythagoras and Dionysius and Marcus Aurelius, like, and Rene Descartes. He just knew everything and their history and what they did and how what their battles were and the languages, and people would just listen. Nobody spoke a word when he spoke, and he was like a teacher. And so helping me with my homework, he was very diligent in helping me with all my homework. That was his cultural language, but also other languages that he wanted me to learn, because that's who he was. There was also, I learned from him a lot about philosophy and history because he knew his history without studying. He just had this passion for history, which is what Carol brought into her reading.
Ah, did he read a lot? So he educated himself.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he did. Yes, he was a bookworm, and he would have been an amazing, amazing history teacher, philosophy teacher going back in time. He definitely knows his stuff. You could ask him anything around the world, and he would know, but when it came to actual philosophy, that was his passion.
Wow. Well, weren't you
Quite.
fortunate? You were so fortunate to have, somebody,
Ah.
well, at the time you probably didn't think
No,
so,
he was a very
but
tough cookie. Let's just, yeah,
but
he used
but
to,
when you look back to have all of that
exactly,
knowledge that he instilled,
today.
yeah.
And Carol mentioned that in her reading. I didn't appreciate the caves or the stalactites.
Stalactites.
So
No,
yeah.
thanks.
This actually brings up an interesting question here. Okay, so the fact that he's actually appeared twice, literally back to back, to two different mediums. Okay, and I honestly would not have guessed that this was the same guy. Like, you know, I would not have guessed that because the viewpoint that I brought in from him was different. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what your guys' insights are on, like, why did he come in and present two different sides like this? What do you think, Effie? You knew him, you
Oh
know.
yeah. He had another side to him that he didn't show often, unless you talked about what was interesting. So when you got to really, really know my grandfather and you got to sit down with him, he was direct, he got to the point, he didn't waste time. And he would tell you the truth. He wouldn't sugarcoat it. But there's also a way where he
Wow.
was very quiet around people and didn't speak. He just didn't need to. He was more an observer in the background in large settings, but he had a lot of respect with people around him. So you never forgot him when you got to know that other side of him. And so he showed you two different sides. He was a tough cookie, very disciplined man. But when you got to know him and he let you in, you saw a side to him that you would have never ever guessed who he was. He would have been a teacher. He would have been someone that his passion would have been if he was today, he would have been definitely a teacher. I could see him pursuing this.
God, I was thinking it's a shame that he's no longer with us because the world needs more people like that. But it's kind of interesting, I think, because like in my experience, a lot of times sitters will uh expect to say, and I'll use mom, okay, as an example here, they expect a mom to come in a certain way, okay? And so here we have Effie's grandfather, and he comes in and he's showing two different sides of himself,
Yeah.
okay? So, like, have you
So
guys ever?
my friends would ask me, can you ask your grandfather this question when you had a history question?
Okay, all right,
They trusted him.
yeah,
He was
okay.
always right. He was never wrong. There was no internet back then.
But they didn't want him to ask him themselves.
Oh no, no, they were afraid of him.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they were terrified of him. Can you ask him this question? And so I would ask him, and I would write down the answers, what it meant for their homework.
How
That's
interesting.
how, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's interesting too because like it's almost as if um like different people can view the same person in two completely different lights. Okay. And for example, we'll take the president of the United States, and Lord knows, okay, that there are two completely different viewpoints, on that person. But in that case, okay, spirit may come in and talk about one side of him that some people will recognize, and then come in again with a different perspective that other people will recognize, which is interesting to see this happen in the spirit world, so.
Lovely. Isn't it great?
It is.
It
It's
is.
marvelous.
And he's got a unique personality.
Yeah.
I I love it when he comes in. I love him blending with him on the other side, because he's got that. I don't see it too often today. That
Okay.
type of strength.
Yeah. Well, let's hope he comes back more often,
Well, Coliseum, if he'd
yeah,
be the perfect person,
yeah, honest to
right?
gosh.
He's the perfect, yeah.
And I'm going to have to go look after we're on off this session and see if you're actually allowed to sit in the seats of the
You can.
Colosseum.
You
You
could sit.
can?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even
Yeah,
know.
you can go
Okay.
into it. You could walk in.
Okay. All right. Well, wow. I just saw him sitting there,
Or at
and
least you could, a few years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Oh
Heaven only
gosh, I guess
knows.
that was a while ago. That was
Hmm.
15 years ago. Oh God, really? Yikes.
Okay.
Go back, Tammy. Come on.
What? What?
Come
Felt
on, you
like
got nice
yesterday.
sharp
Yeah,
memory.
don't
Come
go there.
Yeah,
on.
it
Don't
felt
go
like
there.
yesterday. Wow.
It's yesterday. It's yesterday.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yes.
It's interesting because it really felt like the same guy at first.
Mhm.
He did feel like the same. Like I thought, oh, I wonder if I'm double linking, but he's showing me totally different things. But then
Mhm.
he
Yes.
really confused me by where he was in my mind map. It was like, okay, you are clearly not a direct. So I'm not sure why that was done. Just talk to my guides. We'll
Oh,
find out.
you nailed it. When you said homework, I knew exactly. It was all
Yeah,
that
but
one person, yeah.
yeah, I'm
But my
just
uncle
curious.
is in spirit. But all of the evidence was towards my grandfather.
Yeah, but it's so funny that he wasn't in the right place today. And I
Okay.
don't know why. That's what I want to know.
Okay. Let's see. This is a good,
Yeah.
experience for our YouTube audience here, because stuff like this happens. And why does it happen? We don't know. We're learning just like you are, and trying to get it all sorted out. But sometimes it happens. So,
Well, I think it's also because we know that they're always working with us. They're working with us and so as I think about it a little bit more, I could see how, for a while I've been working with, feeling, you just feel who they are.
yeah.
But that was harder to do because it's so easy because they come in my mind map and I know where they are. Today, it was interesting because I felt he was the same. Yet I almost feel like it was a lesson for me today because I felt he was the same, but then he was in this different place in my mind map. So I started going by that. So it's almost like they were saying, "See, feel this, because this is what he feels like. Now we're gonna throw you a curveball here."
Mhm.
So it was really kind of an interesting
You did great.
lesson today that
Did
they
really
Yeah.
good.
that they gave
And
me. So
talking about the curveballs, spirit does that, but they don't do that to torture you. They
no,
Mhm.
do that
no,
to
It's
not
all
at
move
to
you
all.
help
up
us
a level.
develop. Yes.
Help
Yeah,
us develop,
Yes,
keep us
expand.
interested.
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly. Give
yeah,
us more to
Lean,
think about.
lean into the uncomfortable. That's how you
Yeah,
grow.
yeah.
absolutely. Well said, Effie. Well said. And on that
So I
topic,
guess,
are you
yeah,
feeling
here
it?
we
So
go.
lean in, baby.
Absolutely. So that I'm going to be working. I know two spirits coming in. I do feel like Karen, I'm going to go to you first. You have a friend on the other side. She is a medium that is stepping forward. And she's also someone that she's been for yourself with your development, your clairaudience right now. Would you understand you've been trying to hear more
Yes.
instead of, and it's something that the interpretation, you're getting some bits and pieces
Mhm.
when she steps forward. This is actually, this is a friend, not a medium. I'm going to retract that.
Okay.
And also, as she comes in, you have gone to, I feel like, a reading recently, that she's sharing. Would you understand this?
Yeah.
Right. And would you understand that within that meeting, there was a reading, it was a very emotional reading for you.
Yeah.
And within that reading, also your mother would have came through. No, it's not your mom. I'm not going to take
I don't remember.
it's not, but it's an emotional reading of what you're going through in your life right now. And it's regarding love is what I'm feeling. Love and being in the midst of trying within your spirituality and your family matters that are around you, that you're dealing with as this friend is stepping forward. And you feel like you're the one in the middle managing it all with the chaos
Yes.
that's here. Now, with transparency, I do know a lot about you with your family, but it's more going towards your heart center today, towards about you. So it's a blend of a psychic and a little bit of mediumship. Are you open to that, Carol?
Yes.
And within that, also that reading, there's a way where you wanted to give money. And I feel like you wanted to tip or give us more money than the medium wanted to. And there was a way where to hold back, like there's a generosity that you're really willing to overgive. Now, would you understand it was an exchange of you wanted to tip well, or you wanted to give
Oh,
something
yeah.
more
Yeah.
to her? And she said, no. Would you understand it was also a female?
Yeah.
And within that reading, there's also a man that is stepping forward, and he would have a pocket watch that you'd remember in the family, that he'd always, and pens. Actually, I'm going to make sure I'm not linking with Tammy here. Tammy, would you understand this?
A man with a pocket watch
And
and,
pens.
and
He always had beautiful pens.
like a writing pen, like a
Yes,
pen.
pens,
Mhm.
pens. He always had a lot of pens on his desk, always pens. Hold
I
that
don't,
there.
I don't
Hold
know.
that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there's the lady that steps forward for you, that you're doing your best. She wants you to take a step back, Carol. You don't need to do it all. You don't need to be the person in charge, the leader, the head of it. Things will dissolve on its own, and to pause right now in your life and to really, really take care of you. There's also where you've given up to, where you've gone into a place where I can't do no more. I can't, I also just understand there you need to sit down and write a letter emotionally for your feelings of what you're going through. And you've been trying to get to this place to start to write. So I just want to leave that with you. That's been coming in. Actually, no, would you understand there's a place of forgiveness that you need to forgive somebody in your life, and that you need to write it down emotionally to get the feelings out.
Probably. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so to take that step here, it's going to be much more therapeutic than paying
Okay.
tons of money for counselors. This is going to be the avenue for you when you're here. When I'm also here, there is another lady stepping forward. I do understand. Hmm. I do understand there's a lady stepping forward that meant well. I do feel she's very direct when she comes in. And you would be she comes in where I don't feel like you would have seen eye to eye with her when she's here, but she means well, and she has her own way of doing things when she's here. She's got a beautiful home, um, and I just feel also not getting a lot with her. This is definitely a very formal grandmother. I'm going to Tammy here. Would you understand a lady on the other side? I don't feel you saw eye to eye, but not didn't tell each other that, but she's someone that would have her own views in life, and you had your own set of views, only your journeys, your ways of your, but and but she meant well because that's how she was raised when she gave her opinions. I do feel she was opinionated. This is your mother-in-law.
I
Um,
think so. Yeah, that
yeah.
sounds like it. Sounds right.
Right, and I know a lot about your mother-in-law
Yeah.
when she's here, because I also understand the relationship that she had with your husband. Your late husband was very close,
Yes.
with both of them. Now, also, with your raising your kids, would you understand your mother-in-law had her opinions of how to do things, how to raise the kids, how to she had her opinion of how she raised your kids, and you did it a different way.
Y- yeah, she never voiced that, but I think she
And
had it.
there's a way where you brought a lot of culture into your children's lives, your own set of how to raise them, how to experience different types of celebrations that your late husband would have not had the opportunity to know how to do. Which would this make sense to you? Now,
Not
these could be
not
Christmases, these could be things that are different. Because I feel like I think your husband was Jewish.
yes, but
So
we
would you
also
understand?
we celebrated everything.
So would you understand? Okay, thank you. And then with also this, I understand that you really never got, because your husband works so much, and I know this, you never fully got to know each other. Because he was always working, you were left a lot with managing the household, managing the affairs of the home. And there was this but it worked for you at that time between you and your late husband.
I could take most of that.
Thanks. And so there was a close relationship. I want to go back to that with
Yeah,
you and your
yeah,
husband.
we did. Yeah.
Right. And there's also a way where your husband was extremely organized, Tamara, with his company, with his affairs. He had everything in place. He knew where everything was.
That I'm not sure about just
And
because it was his, you know.
going back to your mother-in-law, you'd remember the beautiful jewelry that she had, uh, and also your grandmother. Beautiful jewelry. I feel like some of it was passed down to the family.
To show my grandmother or
Oh,
her,
sorry, your mother-in-law.
my
And
mother-in-law. She did have nice, beautiful jewelry that she passed down. Correct.
right. And
Yeah.
going also back to Carol, with where you are here today, I do also have when I'm with you, loving to listen to opera, classical music with yourself. And would you also understand turning on the radio, listening to this by yourself, and really, really enjoying it? But you even go to places where there is beautiful music, as concerts of piano and opera, and it makes you very emotional. Would this make sense to you? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yes.
Right. And with also with this, there is a where I want to go back and um with yourself learning music, 'cause I know you understand the music. I know you are very much a musical lady who understands the notes. But as your mother steps in, there would have been a piano in the home that would have been there quite some time. And I feel like nobody played it. Would this make sense to you, Carol?
There was a piano in the home, but it was played.
Then would you understand after a period of time it wasn't played?
Correct. Yes.
But it would have stayed there for quite some time, and it
Yes.
wasn't tuned up. It would have just stayed in. It would just been
Correct.
a piece
Right.
of furniture. Now you're within your mom's home. I feel like she never threw anything out. Your mom, she kept everything for quite some time, and she's
Yep.
also the type of lady where she would bring things down out of sight, out of mind. She didn't want to deal with it right there and then, which brings me to I, knowing that your mom was the type of person that compartmentalized her feelings and didn't really share what was happening inside her soul. And
Yeah.
you would have been the person that was very much the caregiver for your mom and making sure that she was okay. I also feel like with that your mom would have moved in with one of your siblings to take care of her at one time for a short period.
No.
Then would you understand that your mom was in the hospital and there was a sibling that was there as one of the caregivers?
Yes.
And would you also understand that you have a brother,
Yes.
Carol? And would you
Mhm.
understand your brother was also one of the people that went to the hospital to make sure that your mom was okay?
Yeah. Mhm.
And there was also within the family an issue where there was an estate where I signed papers that I shouldn't have, and it was deceit. The parameters of deceit, no, estate. I'm just going to say there was an estate issue within the family. Would you understand this?
In a weird way.
Then
Yeah.
I'm going to go to, would you understand somebody made someone sign papers that they weren't in the right cognizant state of mind?
Oh, no.
Then would you understand there was a man that I need to sign papers. I know I need to sign papers, but the lady here is not ready to sign the papers. She just doesn't want to deal with this right now.
All right. I can understand that in a way. Yeah.
And would you understand this is a male?
No.
Then going to Tamara, the male, I'm going to go back to you, what that had the pocket watch right from the very beginning. Would you understand someone in your family like this? This is your
I
wider family.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, I can't think of who had a pocket watch. I don't know of anybody who had
Then
a pocket
would you
watch.
understand someone that had a grandfather clock in the house?
Yes. Yeah.
And that man there, would you understand that he was impatient, that he was more of a businessman in the home, that he knew a lot about documentation, business matters, that's here. He comes in very formal. That would be no. That's
Yeah,
okay. You can
I'm
say,
trying to think if it was somebody else in the family, but no.
no, this man that's here, I just can't let go of him. Would you understand he did very well in life, business-wise?
The man with the pocket watch?
The man with the grandfather clock in the home.
No.
Thank you.
No.
No, that's okay. Would you understand that if then he, with money-wise, he just blew it. He would throw it. He just wasted whatever it was, money. He he just,
No.
I can't let this go. Would you understand there was something where I'm gambling when I'm with him?
No, definitely not.
Taking risks. Carol, would you understand this?
Not gambling. No.
I'm at the horses and I'm taking risks and I'm there with him. He just likes to gamble, but it's not an addiction. He just likes to take more risks, knowing that he can. I'm going to go one more piece of evidence. This man had definitely very focused and I'm going to go into there's alcoholism in the family. I'm going to leave it at that. If what the two of you can understand this for a man.
Okay. Hold on. I got it. Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna
So
make sure.
I'll say yes to the alcoholism, the gambling, and the estate issue, all tied to one person, not who I originally thought it was, but it's
Perfect.
distant family. Yes.
And he's on. Now, this man also would have had like to be by himself, would have had allowed more people to come close to him. He has like an underlying intention when he's here, when he steps forward. Would you also understand there's a bit of narcissistic inside him, hearing about it?
I'd say no.
That's okay.
Uh,
But he does come in. I also just want to say, would you understand he had a son?
yes.
And would you also understand that son and him did not foster a good relationship with each other?
Yes.
And would you also understand of hearing that he wasn't a good husband also,
Uh,
or
I
partner?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Would you understand suspecting or not being surprised if you heard
Um, I just don't know.
that? Now, the son also, would you understand he's on the other side?
No.
So he's still within this place. I do feel like there comes in for an apology for his son and very, very much letting him know that I don't feel he was ever around. And his son makes me aware that he would have not had the best choices in life when he was younger. He would have not known where to go and he would have struggled. I do feel there was a
Right.
struggle and there would have been a mental illness that would have started to occur with him, a depression that would have came, he would have relied on pills as a part of the treatment. I just want to leave this, and I also understand within some of the family, Carol, that would have a drug addiction. He's going even further down of with the pills. You know, I want to leave the apology that comes in from this man and what happened with the estate, and it was all wrong. It was all wrong, and it was his for his own needs back then. There was this selfishness that comes in, and he would have left his wife in a position that she would have not been able to financially manage, but she would have done it, persevered. There's a lot of grace coming towards her for him. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah. Thank you, Effie. Wow. You had a big old family reunion going on there, girl. Jeez. Okay. I'm going to start with the feedback from my spirits, and then I'll ask Tammy to jump in with her. Okay. But originally, you were talking about the reading that I had regarding the friend who had come in. That was pretty upsetting for me, and that was spot on. I had a friend who committed suicide. Okay, and you know, I still can't talk about that without crying. Jeez. Um, but then when you were talking about the uh me being in the middle, okay, that's really funny. Okay, being in the middle and not having to pull away from things. Okay. And that actually has to do with politics, okay, because I am I'm a third party supporter. Okay, so I don't support either of the two major parties in the United States. And the end result, and I'm just honest about it. Okay, I can see the flaws on both sides. Okay, and so the end result is that both sides beat the crap out of me. you know, and it's getting difficult. But then you were also talking about now the addiction thing, and that I was thinking of somebody else, and that's where I got sidetracked. Okay, but you were talking about my uncle's son. Okay, so my cousin is the one who had the alcohol and the gambling problem. Okay, and he screwed up the estate. Okay, um, in a number of ways. Like his parents were put in long-term care. Okay, and he was almost homeless. Okay, so his sister had power of attorney. She was trying to sell their house to get money to pay for their long-term care. And this cousin moved into their house, and he's drunk, okay, and a slob, okay, and he says, I have as much right to be here as you do. And she couldn't sell the house because like realtors didn't want to bring people into the house and find him passed on the sofa in his underwear. You know what I mean? So,
That's difficult. That's
yeah.
difficult.
So it was a very, very difficult situation. So, yeah. So that's what I got out of my side of that. So Tammy, if you want to speak up here.
Well, I think it was just my mother-in-law, and I think that what resonated or stood out was raising, I guess, how we raised our kids, and she was much more laissez-faire, like no bedtime, no specific bedtime, no routine. Um, but I was much more, I had a routine with my kids, and we had but yeah, so I would say, so we didn't really see eye to eye, on probably a number of things, but we certainly got along okay. And then about the holidays, um, yeah, no, they celebrated, we celebrated, the Christmas and Hanukkah and Passover. So we kind of did all that.
Just
Yeah.
curious, Carol, in your family, clocks and watches. I have a lot of clocks in my house, and I like old watches. Does this resonate to someone? Because I may have been with you.
I have in the family grandfather clock and pocket watches. Yes.
Okay, I may have been with you the entire time.
Okay.
Is what. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And would you understand someone that had a lot of pens?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Okay. So that was, yes.
That's
So
what
it
it
was
was.
with you. And this would be like one over, not a direct family member around you, but as a family.
A
One over.
grandfather.
A grandfather.
Grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one that owned the restaurants up north.
grandfather and grandmother. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I was with you the entire time.
Yeah. Sorry. I just won't jump in. You know,
No,
I'm
it's
not
good.
going to
It's
try.
good to yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And for the benefit of our YouTube audience, that's kind of like a mediumship etiquette. Okay. If you are ever in a an environment where a reading is being given and the medium says, you know, Effie, I would like to go to you. The etiquette is respect what the medium says, okay, because the medium believes that she is with Effie. Okay, don't jump in there and go, well, I can take elements of that. No, you know, that's just bad manners. Don't do that. So I did,
As that's excellent. As a child, Carol, you would have had a jewelry box, a small one, and you would have put money in there too, saved your money and your
yeah,
cash and your coins.
yeah, mhm, yeah,
Right. And I know you had a close relationship with your mother, and that would have stemmed from your mother,
right,
her habits of seeing how she put money all over the house and old ways and lots of
right,
socks.
right,
Boy,
exactly,
boy. There,
exactly.
it was always with you. Yeah.
Yep, no worries there. But you said something when you were reading me that made me laugh, and you said it really fast, but it jumped out at me because I'd actually heard this expression before. Okay. And when I was in my early stages of development, I had a classmate who actually said that he had been in psychotherapy for decades. Okay. And then he eventually realized that he was a psychic. Okay. And when he came to the realization and admitted that he was a psychic, all of these things that he viewed as problems went away. And his take on it was his mediumship was better than paying, as you said in your reading, money for counselors.
Absolutely. Well,
Which
our own opinion, yes. It's
okay, so let's just talk about this. Okay. Have you, Effie, have you seen like a mediumship reading make a profound um, change in someone's mental health?
yes.
Can you elaborate?
Uh
If not,
it was under the same circumstances they shared. I've been to, thousands, not thousands, but to many therapists. And one reading, two readings, and finding the right person that aligns with that sitter or the client that comes in, changed the course of a lifetime and saw things from a different perspective. That therapy did not delve deeper. And it worked for them. And also writing down letters to that person on the other side, because we know that they're able to read our therapeutic letters that we write down for ourselves, which is also very healing, not just for the spirit on the other side, but also for the client themselves. So yes, there's been readings where they've said the same thing. They have been to many therapists, and this one or two readings was more profound and more healing than thousands of dollars that they have paid, because they were able to hear the words that they needed to hear from their loved ones on the other side, and hearing why, who, what, all the explanations that they never could understand.
wow. Okay. What about you, Tammy? Have you had that experience?
I have actually. A number of years ago, I couldn't understand why I was having this pull. Actually, it was during COVID. I had this pull to go visit a certain town, which I won't name. I'd never been there before, but I 8 months ahead of time, I booked an Airbnb to be there for a month. I just had no idea why I was going. And my mother even said, "Why are you going there?" I said, I don't know." And when I got there, after a couple of weeks, in a certain situation, by coincidence, which we know doesn't really it doesn't exist really, coincidences, I found myself with another person before other people arrived, and we started talking, and it turned out this person had lost their spouse, and so I did a reading for this person, and I hadn't realized the extent of their suffering until they let me know that they were really ready to basically join their spouse on the other side, or had been ready to join their spouse on the other side.
Here.
And that was pretty profound, because it wasn't that long. It was probably my second year of mediumship development. And then I really understood even more. I mean, I had understood before, but not in a sense that had affected me personally so greatly. And that has stayed with me. And I think there have been some other times too which I don't recall right now, because this one is just so still always so prevalent, in my mind. And but I do believe that, that reading with the spouse coming in, made the difference.
That's
Because
wonderful.
the spouse said, you have more to do. And I actually didn't know until it was confirmed, but I only knew because of what the spouse was saying, that you have more to do here. Don't be thinking about joining me, because you have more to do, and you'll be very disappointed, if you leave and then realize you shouldn't have left. And so,
Tammy, that's very touching.
yeah,
What you did.
Well, it was so funny because I was led to it, and I didn't understand really why I was there, but I thought, well, this is great. I mean, I'm having this really nice time. But then all of this happened, and I just thought, wow, I think they worked that. I think the whole thing was, and I also, the day of that reading, I got messages, like even written on a little footbridge, 333, your guides are with you, they're, and then during the reading, even the 333 came in. I mean, it was just such a wild reading. And but yeah, that's, I would say.
Tammy, I don't need to take away from your sharing. That's wonderful. This week I had an exchange with a very new medium. And after we read, I was prompted, drawn to tell her, don't quit. Because early in my development, I almost quit. And I was in tears, and I didn't want to move forward. I didn't think I was good. I was comparing myself to everyone. I didn't have the confidence. I can't do this. And it was a very, very, upsetting time for me. And I almost did quit. And then the next couple of days, I didn't want to go to a circle. I said I was never going into a circle. And out of nowhere, prompted to go to a circle midway, and went in late. And right away, the sitter came to me the next reading, and all she said to me was, I have your loved one here. I knew she had. And the only word she said was, don't quit. That was all. The reading this week, I was prompted to tell her, don't quit. And I said, I'm telling you not to quit, not knowing why. She wrote me the next day an email, exactly how I felt in that year one, crying, absolutely devastated, not good enough, don't have the confidence, didn't value her like I didn't value me. And all I told her was, do not quit. And she says just those two words helped her get back on the saddle. We don't know the difference that you're making for that person that you were prompted to, drawn to go there, and not knowing why.
Yeah, it's part of the trust, right? We just trust that they're putting us where we need to be at the right time.
Yes.
Wow. What interesting experiences. Now, I'm going to just throw one thing out here for our YouTube audience. If you practice mediumship, and I'm going to go back to the situation that Tammy is talking about here. I want to talk about the flip side to this, because it's a serious point. Okay. And I have a friend, I'm in Pennsylvania, and I actually have a friend who had a sitter come in. She did a reading for, that was in the same position as the one woman that Tammy's talking about. And she did the reading for the woman, and at 11:30 that night, she was woken up by this bang, 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 bang on her door. Okay. And she went down to open her door to find two uniformed police officers standing down there. Okay. Who proceeded to question her on what it was that she had told that woman in her reading, because she transitioned herself right after the reading.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Yes. Okay. And that is the complete opposite of what
Yes.
Tammy is talking about. So I'm just going to caution anyone in our YouTube audience who, is a reader and ever runs into that situation. I got a great piece of advice about that from my mentor. Okay. And my mentor said, you can read them, you can try to help them. But he said, you need to tell them flat out, you're not a mental health counselor. Okay. And when you're done, he said, keep the phone number of the National Suicide Hotline in your phone and give it to them afterwards. Okay. And encourage them to go there. Okay. To have those two things paired together, because the golden rule in mediumship is to do no harm.
Right.
Okay. And Tammy, Tammy's experienced enough that she did no harm. Okay. Which was good. Okay. Just be mindful of the fact that you can harm people. Okay. You let your own ego get in the way, you can harm people, and the results can be devastating. And you might be like my friend who ended up with two uniformed police officers on her doorstep at 11:30, okay, at night.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, in addition to what you said about do no harm, I've also been trained that you leave them better than before they came.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. Mhm. Great advice. Great
Right.
advice.
I love that happened for you, Tammy. I just love that. I love how that all turned out. You're
Yeah,
supposed to be there
Yeah,
at the right time, at the
exactly.
right
yes,
place,
I was,
and
Like,
being trusted.
yeah,
it also makes you realize there's wherever there is, how there's no time, because
Mhm.
somehow like the time it wasn't linear at all.
Mhm.
They knew 8 months before I did that, they all knew it, if it all played out already. So
yeah,
yeah,
It's beautiful.
it's a wild day.
yeah.
All right, guys.
Another
Well,
one, yet
yeah,
another one, another
Okay.
magical day.
Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful to have these discussions. And I hope our YouTube audience, okay, if you've enjoyed this session, please hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We'll be back online next Saturday, which I think is no, that's the 5th, I think, July 5th. Okay, we'll see you next Saturday. And I'm going to shut us down with a prayer, if everyone would join me, please. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Thank you for the gift of mediumship that you've given us, and allow us to use this precious gift to help others who need your healing and love. Bless all of our friends and loved ones and protect them from sickness and harm. Bring joy into the lives of people who have sorrow, health into the lives of people who have illness, and abundance to the lives of people who have little. Thank you for the lessons that you've given us today, and help us to continue to build a relationship with you that is based on love and trust. And always, please help us to be the lights that change this world for the better. Amen. All right. Thanks again. Hope to
Thank
see you
you.
next Saturday at the Evidential Mediumship.